Good morning, evening, or afternoon. Let's talk Nintendo Switch 2. The big Nintendo Direct to fully showcase the console and all of its games, as well as the release date, is coming up here in just a few days on April 2nd. This is a nice Wednesday hump day, and I, like many others, are looking forward to what Nintendo has in store for us in this Switch sequel. I was in the process of making this video when Nintendo decided to drop a Direct the week before the Switch 2 Direct, which kind of blew my mind, but makes a lot of sense as all eyes will be on the Switch 2 after the April 2nd Direct, so why not drop info on all the last Switch games beforehand and just say, hey, all those games we just showed off last week will now play on this new console with possible added performance. So I'm going to quickly go over some hardware expectations, then talk about some confirmed games and nearly confirmed games, and then we're going to end with some games that are more like hopes and dreams and what I hope was going to come out within the first year or so of the Switch 2. So starting with a quick hardware overview, I'll tell you not to get your hopes up for anything near as powerful as, say, the regular PS5. You should expect something a bit more powerful than the original PlayStation 4, and then the PlayStation 4 Pro maybe, because Nintendo has never gone for the best graphics or anything of that sort. The only time Nintendo had the most powerful system was during the 6th generation with the GameCube, which for those who don't know, Nintendo actually reused the GameCube's hardware in the Wii, where they essentially just overclocked the thing. Nintendo has always been about the gimmicks, like the Wii motion control, the 3DS's 3D, the Wii U dual screen. The GameCube actually originally was going to be 3D, so, some were more successful than others. Nintendo played it safe by combining their home console with their handheld console for the Switch, so essentially just expect a more powerful Switch with nothing too crazy. My main hope is that Nintendo will just have 4K 60 FPS being a standard for at least their first party games, and maybe some third party, of course. The thing with third party is they tend to make their games available on as many platforms as possible, so they'll probably design their games typically around the PS5 power now that the PS5 has been out for quite some time, so but as of the last 5 years or so, the PS4 power has been kind of like the standard, so all those games that are already existing on the Switch should run really good on the Switch 2, and possibly some more games that are still going to come out third-party wise will definitely be on the PS4 Power Link, so the Switch 2 should run them perfectly as well. And I think I'll just leave it at that. We already know about the Joy-Con as a mouse, which isn't a new thing, as the Lenovo Legion Go already has this feature, and I'm certain very few games will even take advantage of this. The second USB port on top of the console, I believe, will be some sort of universal just accessory port. For example, a second screen is certainly a big possibility, as it would allow Nintendo to add DS games to be either purchasable or added to the Nintendo Switch Online for an additional cost, of course. Otherwise, it just wouldn't be practical. Like, could you imagine sitting next to someone on the train and they just have a massive dual-screen handheld gaming setup going on? It's just, I would just expect that top USB-C port to just be for either connecting multiple Switches together or just another charging port. So software, this is what I really want to talk about. We're going to start off with backwards compatibility being confirmed, which is a great start, which means all your current Switch games will play on the Switch 2. Now, because of the recent Nintendo Direct before the Switch 2 showcase, I've sort of changed my tune somewhat. See, originally I was thinking they would have dual release games where, say, the Switch version would cost $60, Switch 2 version would cost $70, similar to the PS4/5 situation, and then you could pay to upgrade your regular Switch version if you wanted to for those graphical enhancements and all, but I'm actually thinking they're not going to do that anymore, and that's because of the recent Direct and because it would just be confusing, especially considering how confusing the whole digital lending cartridge thing they showed off was. So, what I'm thinking is there actually won't be a dual release software. It'll just be Switch and Switch 2 games. That's it. Similar to the DS and 3DS situation. I think we should just treat it the same as that, and just maybe some games might run at a better frame rate and resolution on the Switch 2, but probably won't cost money, which, knowing Nintendo, free doesn't seem likely, but, whatever. Nintendo should just keep it simple and not do a whole upgrade thing. I mean, we're going to find out soon enough, so that's all I'm going to say about that. So let's talk about some fully confirmed games for the Switch 2. Mario Kart is really the only one we know for sure, as they showed it in the teaser back in January. I think they may just call it Mario Kart 9 or maybe Mario Kart X and skip the 9. I think X would be a cooler name. Nintendo is incredibly smart for doing a Mario Kart at launch, considering Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has been the top-selling Switch game since its release in April 2017, which is literally just a month after the Switch actually released in March 2017. So next up is Breath of the Wild 4K, which is something they showed behind closed doors some time ago at an event, so that is a possibility, but I also think that may have just been some sort of tech demo for the press or whoever, so, we'll see about that one. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond was what I was originally thinking was going to be one of those dual release games, but after we saw more gameplay again at this recent Direct just a few days ago, if what they showed was running on the regular Switch, I just don't foresee there being a Switch 2 copy as well. it just doesn't seem necessary. It already looks great. So let's just carry on and talk about some other games that I think for sure are going to be there. Starting with a new 3D Mario game. This just absolutely makes sense. Mario Odyssey was a long time ago. That was the end of 2017, so still within the first 9 months of the original Switch releasing. So I think we could see a Mario Odyssey sequel, or possibly some sort of follow-up to Bowser's Fury, or maybe a Super Mario Galaxy 3. I personally really want a Galaxy 3, just because I love the Galaxies 1 and 2. There's fantastic games, and hopefully this will be a day one launch title, but I'm leaning more towards it being a holiday 2025 title. Now for Zelda. Tears of the Kingdom is not that old at this point. It's only about 2 years old. And we also just got Echoes of Wisdom within the last 9 months as well. So I think we're probably going to get some sort of remake or upgrade. I think we're going to get some sort of remake. I seriously think they're just going to go the safe route and finally do that Wind Waker and Twilight Princess bundle and just have it be a Switch 2 game only and not even be a Switch game, which just makes sense because, the Wii U already upgraded those games to HD, and they were kind of remakes because they redid a lot of things and rearranged some things in the game. So it just makes sense that it's finally time to now release them again, because if they put them on the Switch, it would have just looked like a cash grab. But now that it's on the Switch 2, still kind of a cash grab, but at least they could put Zelda 4K, Twilight Princess 4K, they're going to put that big 4K in letters on the box is what I'm thinking, which just it's going to make consumers feel like it's more worth it, and people have been clawing for these games anyway, and they'll definitely drop their $70 without issue on those, definitely if they have both on the same cartridge, that'll be fantastic. And real quick, since we're on the topic of Zelda, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I want Zelda 2, Adventure of Link, to have some sort of 2D side-scroll, it's a 2D side-scrolling game from the NES. I want there to be a remake of that. I think they could do a really fantastic job, or they could just turn that into a 3D game somehow. I don't know. I just think that would be cool. Just gonna throw that out there. Next up, I really think we're gonna get a Kirby game, possibly within the first year as well, considering that Kirby and the Forgotten Land was such a good game and it sold well, and everyone loves Kirby, and there's been a ton of Kirby games already on the Switch at this point, so I think another Kirby game is a pretty good shoe-in as well, at least within the first year. And then next up, I'm thinking we're gonna get a Donkey Kong game as well, or maybe another Luigi's Mansion, like Luigi's Mansion 4, or maybe another Paper Mario game. And this is because Nintendo recently released remakes of all these games, and I think they did this to kind of test the waters and see okay, which games should get sequels and which games should we start making for the Switch 2. They kind of looked at the sales of all those 3 games, and they're probably going to determine which ones to go with first, or figure out exactly how it's going to go. So I think we're definitely going to see some sort of sequel to Donkey Kong, Luigi's Mansion, or Paper Mario. Another one that for sure is going to be there is going to be a party game, similar to 1-2 Switch, or I can't remember the name of that other party game for the Switch. But they had one at release, and they'll probably have another one that kind of showcases using the Joy-Con as a mouse, maybe some other extra feature, maybe something with that USB-C port, who knows. But I think we're for sure going to get some sort of party game. Could be a sports game, I don't know, something like Nintendo Land from the Wii U. I'm not sure, but, I'm looking forward to seeing what they show off. Now, other than that, I really don't know. I'm just going to kind of point out some things Pikmin is a big series, but Pikmin 4 is not that old. For sure, Pikmin 5 is going to come to the Switch 2 at some point, but I think we have quite a few years still till that comes out, so I'm just a huge Pikmin fan, so I had to throw that in there. Other than that, I think we may get some other game to kind of showcase more of the power of that Switch 2, something like an F-Zero game, like a racing game like that, or maybe a Pilot Wings. Maybe they'll bring back Pilot Wings. That was a 3DS launch game to kind of show off the 3D. Maybe a Rave Race game. The GameCube had Rave. I think it was a release game was Rave Race, and it just shows off the physics of water and all that stuff. I think that could be a possibility. Something like Animal Crossing, I don't really see. Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem, actually, that could be a. They make Fire Emblem games quite a bit these days, so I think we may see some sort of Fire Emblem game within the first couple years for sure, and they'll probably show it in the trailer as well. As for the third party, I think they're going to have some good stuff, some stuff that's already out on PS5 that's not on the Switch, something like Elden Ring from Software. That just absolutely makes sense, of course. Capcom's probably going to throw some games on there, maybe like Resident Evil 7, which I think is a cloud. You can stream that to the cloud on the Switch currently, so maybe they'll start doing physical copies for some other games that have the cloud versions. Same thing with Square Enix. I think they're going to go that route. Hogwarts Legacy, I think we're going to see an updated version of that game for the Switch 2 that doesn't, look awful. Definitely looking forward to some third-party stuff. I think Nintendo's going to take the spotlight mainly with their first-party stuff to really sell the Switch at launch, and with the exclusive stuff, which just makes sense. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. What are you looking forward to? What do you want come out on the Switch, either at launch or within just that first year, or by December, within that release window of the first 6 to 9 months or so. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you are too. We only have a few more days before this Direct comes out, and we're going to know, hopefully, just about everything that we need to know for the launch, and how we can get that Switch, how we can pre-order, all that good stuff. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, drop your comment down below. Let me know your thoughts and opinions and what you think is going to come out, and talk to you in the next one.